Welcome back, yelling and screaming. It is Sunday, February 8th, 2026, Super Bowl 60, which is kind of crazy. The Roman numerals, Sean, never make me realize how old I'm getting. But man, when you convert that over, like 2007 was a long time ago at this point. Like I'm an old man.
We are both definitely closer to the end than a lot of other people right now. We're
That's
over the hump.
fair.
I'll call it over the hump now.
Let's get the high level business out of the way. Seahawks, Patriots. Hawks are 4.5-point favorites, total sitting at 45.5. It's been there for a couple days. Some of the books keep popping that number, trying to pull in some more money. But this is kind of where it's at. No real injuries except Landry and Spillane for the Patriots. Both questionable, both expected to play. Otherwise, we got the best team in the AFC, the best team in the NFC, pretty much full strength. I'm excited for this one. This one should be a good game. I dislike that it's a rematch, but I'm here for a game.
Honestly, it's going to be a good game. I really do think that these teams, on paper, they match up pretty well. You know, the way that they performed all season, they were both top teams in their respective conferences all season, either one or two. But it was great to watch a season where we didn't only focus on the Chiefs or the Eagles, and got to see some new teams shine this year. Got to see some young guys shining this year as well. Guys who we didn't expect to performed very well for their respective organizations. And we're back here. We're back at the end of the season. Everything that these teams have been working on, since OTAs, since minicamp is now coming to fruition, and I know they're excited, just as excited as we are to watch them play.
Sean, tickets down to about $3,600. Do you think that's because Santa Clara is a horrible place to visit?
Nah, I think tickets are down a little bit because these aren't two, at least in their current forms, these aren't two organizations that had as much of a powerhouse, following throughout the season. I mean, the last couple of years, we watched the Chiefs basically play every year. We watched the Bills play in those conference championships. So you had pretty much the same storylines for a long time. And it was a little bit different this year. Seattle's not even far from home. So probably a quick drive down there. And obviously there's some more expensive stadiums. AT&T is super expensive nowadays, some of those domes. So having one a little bit outside in Santa Clara gives you a little bit less of little bit less on those utilities. Probably the reason why the tickets are down to $3,600. But it should be beautiful weather out there. It's California right around this time, but a little bit farther north than SoCal, and so you get a little bit cooler weather, a little bit of sea breeze. But it should be fun.
It's a little breezy off the ocean.
It's a little breezy, yeah. So but I mean, if you're Seattle, you're used to playing in that PNW weather. It's not that far off in Santa Clara. And if you're New England, obviously you're used to playing in the snow and snow in the cold at any time around this year. So I'm sure that they'll be a lot warmed up than they would usually be at this time of year.
I just want to get the excuse out there for the kickers. When a kicker misses a kick, it's going to be because it's breezy.
Well, that's not going to be the only reason. I mean, we do have two very strong defensive and special teams organizations right here that play pretty good. So, we got to watch those front guys coming up, getting those big paws up and tipping those balls. But the wind's definitely going to play a factor this game. We've seen a few Super Bowls in recent history be played indoors. There was a whole push and argument as to whether or not the Super Bowl should always be played indoors, providing neutral environment for whoever the teams are playing are. I love the fact that football is one of those sports where the elements can be so different in different places that they change the way that you play. I mean, we had a conversation earlier this year where we talked about how Miami built their stadium to, have the sun on one side, and Seattle's got that, got the decibel levels out, like crazy out there, how loud it is. Mile High being, a mile high, and you have, altitude things. and the new Bill Stadium being built without a dome because they like to play in the snow, and they think that that is something that their fans would appreciate. So there's so much difference and variety in a lot of these NFL stadiums where you can play. And it does contribute to the game. I do like to see some outdoor Super Bowls. A cold weather Super Bowl, I think, would be something to really, really, really to put another push on the game. But I don't know if the
New Highmark Stadium. The Bills chose not to put a roof on that thing. It's going to be fascinating to see if they can pull a Super Bowl. I have seen nothing to that extent. Usually, to build a new stadium, the NFL brings you a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo in early February. I don't know.
And I mean, we love Buffalo, but it's not a big draw of a city. Obviously, the Bay is going to be different. Miami is going to be different. New Orleans will be different. I mean, even Detroit. But like to fly up to Buffalo, the airport's probably closed. It's a little bit harder to get people up there for a big game.
The fans will dig out the runways.
They sure will. There are some hardcore people over there in Buffalo. We love them. We appreciate them. But yeah, that weather's not for me. I'm a warm weather boy. As you can see, it is beautiful and sunny and 80 degrees here in Phoenix.
Lots of storylines, obviously, out of media days for the NFL. There's a lot of things swirling around. One I wanted to touch on, because we've had a lot of conversations surrounding it, is a lot of people, right? Pundits, idiots. Well, I don't want to give my opinion into it. A lot of people, a lot of pundits are saying that Drake Maye was shafted by not being named the NFL MVP. So let me stay as neutral as possible. Sean, do you think Drake Maye was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL this year?
I do. I think that when I looked at the quarterbacks in the NFL, the ones that impressed me the most this year, and part of it goes with his full contribution to the team. Obviously, he adds something to the run game, to that element that a team needs to have in order to be truly successful. I do think he was one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL this year. I do think he was a very strong candidate for MVP. When I looked at the numbers and I looked at the competition that they played against, and I factored all that in, and also looked at who he was competing against, Stafford had been my guy for the majority of the season. Obviously that skid that they had later on in the season, which also was marred by some injuries as well on the defensive side. I mean, it really, really contributed to his team not being in one of the top 2, top 3 teams in the NFL. But that doesn't detract from his numbers and what he did on the field this year. I mean, he was phenomenal through and through. And so you really got to give the man credit where credit is due. I mean, don't get me wrong. Drake Maye, 4,000-yard passer, 43, 4,400 yards, something like that. He was crisp. He was clean throughout the season. He really, really put that offense on his back and made sure that his team really got to where they needed to be. 113.5 passer rating, 31 touchdowns, only 8 picks, but 47 sacks is it's a lot of sacks to take. And when you look at also who we played against in a lot of those games, it does detract a bit from whether or not he was him versus him going against Stafford, who had to play against top tier defenses in San Francisco and Seattle multiple times in the season, plus in the playoffs. Like and his numbers were just incredible. If you're looking at him, I mean, obviously Allen had the dynamic last year. Same thing with having the rushing touchdowns and the passing touchdowns. Same thing on the other side. But if you're just looking at pure passer and what he was able to do this year, I had to give it to Stafford. It was a tight race though, very tight.
See, and I don't want to take anything away from Drake Maye. I want to start there. Drake Maye had a great year, regardless of what happens in this Super Bowl. 4,700 passing yards, 46 touchdowns, 8 picks is an MVP season. And I have trouble looking at it any other way because wins should factor in, right? If you're a great quarterback on a team with no wins, I'd be really hard pressed to call you the most valuable player. But it's not like Stafford was like the Rams were bad, right? Like they went to the NFC Championship game. So like they're a top 4 team. And so like at a certain point, like the number of wins is irrelevant. Like this was an NFC Championship team.
It was a
so like
what,
like I think
2-win difference. Two win
yeah.
difference?
So I think like comparing them like apples to apples in that way, like they have the same number of wins, unless you want to do MVP after the Super Bowl. And then like obviously the most valuable player is probably the quarterback of the Super Bowl winning team every single year. And it'd be really hard not to make that argument, right? Which is why they don't do it after the Super Bowl.
And why they have individual MVPs for those particular games. Because when you look at the totality of the season, you just have to be honest with yourself and say, look at what he did during the season, look at who he played up against, and just like put it out there on the table. There was obviously a lot of butthurt and bias over there. Justin Herbert getting 1 vote and that being a contributing factor, and like it's just like they're talking about Stafford. Stafford assigned a jersey for one of the people like a couple weeks ago, and then he voted for him, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure the guy would have voted for him if he did sign the jersey. I mean, he threw for 12, 13, 14 more touchdowns than Drake Maye with the same amount of interceptions. Like he threw for 400 more yards. Like
it's an AP poll. Like there's not a single AP poll we look at with any respect. I don't know why it's like, ooh, the MVP voters though. This one matters. Like it's the same.
Come on, let's be honest. We all looked at the numbers. We all looked at and how they played this season. And I mean, if you want to, there were people who were saying that Darnold was MVP, for how well he played and how well he got his team through the season. And they dominated as well defensively. Patriots had a really good defense this year as well. And so like the same thing that I looked at last year with the Lamar and the Josh Allen is, it's one of those like, it could be either way. And it was the same thing the year before with Lamar and Josh Allen the last year. For me, this one was a little more cut and dry, personally. I think that I think Drake Maye and Sam Darnold were closer together than Drake Maye and Matthew Stafford. And it's just,
I agree.
And if he's on a Detroit Lions team or a 10-win team and a 9-win team, but he throws the same numbers, maybe you say, okay, we can't really give him that grace. But we're talking about, again, NFC Championship. Like it wasn't like his team. It wasn't like he didn't contribute to his team's wins, and he was a huge contributing factor to that. So, kudos.
So, getting to the game itself, let's start real high level. Who do you like in the Super Bowl and why?
I like Seattle in the Super Bowl. Personally, watching them play against top tier talent in the NFL, specifically some offensive teams and teams who had good defense as well. They were able to beat 2 divisional rivals twice in the regular, dealing with them in the regular season and then dealing with them in the playoffs as well. And so it wasn't like they had an easy journey by any means. They fought people mostly at full strength. And they were able to prevail. Their defense was top tier in the NFL. Their offense was top tier in the NFL. And so looking at those things combined, looking at the fact that they're not playing too far from home, looking at the fact that they're healthy, looking at the overall, I mean, obviously Charbonnet is down, but I mean, Kenneth Walker's been phenomenal in the playoffs, so it's not even like they're having an issue there. So, I mean, looking at their pass game, I see a very complete team here. And I'm not seeing too many gaps that I could see the Patriots exploiting with their offense or with their defense. When I look at who Seattle played coming up to this game, I can kind of match up different parts to who the Patriots game is, and I can see where Seattle can succeed. So I personally have Seattle in this game. Who you got, Rick?
I am also on Seattle, but I am super intrigued in the points with the Patriots because the Seahawks, to my eye, statistically even, look better in every phase of the game. But they've played teams close when they're good teams. Set aside the blowout of the 49ers in the playoffs, which I know is relevant and recent. But they let teams sit within a score for large parts of most of their games this year. And New England has a very explosive offense with the way that Drake Maye can move the pocket. and then release upfield. So I have the Seahawks winning this game, but I want them to be very, very careful because Drake Maye is not some of the other quarterbacks they've played against this year. Drake Maye can do it himself. Drake Maye can find a seam up the field. Trevion Henderson plus 7,500 for Super Bowl MVP. If the Patriots win this game, it's going to have to be through some versatility. They're going to have to do it on the ground and in the air. So that's what I'm really looking for. I think the Seahawks are better. I think the Seahawks win this game. But if they let this New England team hang around in a one-score game, Drake Maye can exploit the middle of the field and like the short outside hashes better than almost any quarterback they've played this year, except maybe Trevor Lawrence. And they beat the Jags by 1 score, So there's a path here where I can see the Patriots winning. I think the firepower of the Seahawks can prevent that. I think they can jump out to a 3-score lead the way they did over the 49ers and coast. But if they don't, I think the Patriots are better built to win a rock fight.
I see that I see your argument there. Just for me, I look at first, the Patriots are one of the top teams in the NFL as far as man coverage. And Darnold picks apart man coverage. He does an exceptional job. They got to defend
and they have no one that can cover JSN, man to man. Like, nobody's that good. Like
exactly. And then on top of that, I mean, you still got covered. Like it's not like JSN just on an island and there's nobody else on that offense that can catch the ball and be good and versatile. It's not like Kupp's just only lining up outside. He's also a guy who can be anywhere on that field. And so you have two guys who, I mean, good luck trying to stop them in the way that their offense is run. But what I also see here is, and you look at the run games. Both run games are pretty comparable, with the exception of, I think, obviously Maye is much more used to just taking off. But Darnold's no slouch back there either. When he sees some open space, he's going to move the ball up the field as best as he can, and whatever he needs to do to get his team in the best position. But when I look at this and I look at who the Patriots have had to play to get to this position, and that matters. It does matter who your team is used to playing in competition. And so I don't think that they've played an offense as capable as the Seahawks offense. And so their defense is really going to be on the field a lot longer. I mean, playing in the snow in a game where your defense just had to pin back, your offense didn't have to do too much. It just had to get up and then kind of coast a bit, knowing that the other team had zero chemistry going on, and really just didn't have besides one surprise play. They had nothing going for them. And you play the game to win. That's the NFL. You play the game as it is to win. But then before that, playing against a very, very turnover-prone, and especially in the playoffs, good Lord, how many turnovers did we have from Stroud in 2 games? I've never seen that happen before in my life, and for a guy who almost won. We look at
the last 2 Texans games. Anytime you say I never see that, you just go back another Texans game, and because they all look like that.
Because their defense was so good. I'm just saying, as far as playoffs go, I've never seen that before in my entire life. Was it like 10 turnovers in 2 games?
I look at the Patriots schedule,
it's rough.
And like your point is fair. They have not played the same caliber of opponent, but they blew out the Jets. They blew out the Dolphins. They had that weird game against the Chargers. They exploited opportunity against Houston. The Denver game, I just want to throw out. I mean, that's by far the best defense they've played all year. Yeah, and
of course. I mean, Denver one of the best defenses in the NFL, period.
They only scored 10 points, So I think they've done what they need to do offensively. I don't know if they're prepared for this Seahawks defense.
Oh,
I'm not sure how, with the schedule you have, with the personnel you have, you plan up to this Seahawks defense, which means the Patriots, put aside all the hyperbole and we're coaching our guys up and we play hard and all that crap. I mean, you have to score more points at the end of the day in the NFL. And more points than the Seahawks means 5 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns and 2 field goals. You know, it means 4 to 6 scoring drives in a game against a really, really good defense. That's what I keep kind of coming back to, because I think this Patriots offense is capable of scoring 4 to 7 times in a game, pretty much at will. But the Seahawks offense is also better than a lot of teams they've played as well. And if they suck the air out of the ball and run clock, I don't know that there's that many possessions. You know, so if I tell you the Patriots need 35 points, I don't know if there's enough opportunities for them to score 35 points if the Seahawks get into that grindy offense that they run.
I will say this: besides the Texans game, which obviously was a nightmare for the Texans offense, the Chargers game, they scored 16. That's a decent defense. The obviously terrible weather in Denver, but they scored 10. And then realistically, the Houston game was more about field positioning and turnovers than it was about actual defensive performance. But even in that game, May had 179 passing yards, so like it had nothing to do with it. Really, his contribution wasn't nearly as much as you would see in a game where you beat a team by 2 scores or so. When you look at it,
Houston, right? Call Houston a comp.
Yeah.
I think we'd both agree that Darnold is better than Stroud.
Oh, yes.
So, if you even take one of those turnovers out of that game, this is, 21-17, 21-19. If that's the kind of game, I got the Seahawks and I'll lay those points,
I mean, I think realistically, though, they keep the game close. The Patriots defense is also nothing to sneeze at, and I want to make sure that I put that up there. I mean, they have a top tier defense in the NFL. By the numbers, the way they played, they 100% blew out teams that they were supposed to blow out. They did. Like, there was no argument about that. What I will say is that they did not play a single top 10 defense the entire season. Not a single top 10 defense the entire season. The first time they played against any defenses was in the playoffs. And again, you played against defenses, but with terrible offenses at the time. Obviously, Stidham's not even close to he didn't have a single rep all season, not a single start, not a single rep all season to come in a playoff game. He had to be Jesus Shuttlesworth. Like, what are we talking about here? We talk about a turnover-prone offense, and we talk about one of the most inept organizations when it comes to playoffs in NFL history in the Chargers. And so, like, I'm just looking at when I look at when I look at these two teams playing against who they had to play against and whether or not they had to put their foot on the gas in order to win these games. Darnold didn't throw for a ton in his game either against the Niners, and they blew him out absolutely. But their defense did heavy work. And then in that game against the Rams, that man went off 350, almost 350. Like, we're talking about a guy who saw the moment and captured it. He put his team on his back. He got the ball down the field. JSN looked incredible in that game. And so I'm going to say that that's going to be the closer version of Darnold. I think he's finally ready to, like, move his name out of that that bust quarterback category. And really, I mean, obviously 2 14-win seasons in a row for 2 different organizations. I think he's found himself, and he is definitely one of the better quarterbacks. He'll be the first one in his draft class to actually make the Super Bowl, which is crazy because we're looking at a draft class with 2 Joshes, one being absolutely trash, and 3 MVPs. 3 MVPs between the 4 or 5 quarterbacks in that draft class. But yeah, he was the guy. He was
an interesting way to look at it.
Crazy, right, Phil? I mean, we're looking at right now, like, we're looking at a guy who's stepped into the moment, who's been playing against tough top tier defenses. His coordinators are on point. They understand how to move the ball down the field. They understand how to use the clock very well. And so the Patriots are going to have to mimic that performance. I mean, I'm just looking right now, and I just don't see, if we're looking at defenses matched up, it's flat across the board. If we're looking at offenses, there's a little bit of a bump I give to Seattle. And if we're looking at just playmaking ability and able to manage clock, I'll give a little bit of bump to Seattle. But both teams got here. obviously they had to play the games that are in front of them. And so the Patriots absolutely have the capability. I think they're going to have to be more liberal with the way that Drake Maye chooses to take off. He's going to have to, when he sees open field, he's just going to have to move. He can't sit back in the pocket. He can't allow their defense to kind of settle in and control the game. He's going to have to push them to make mistakes. He's going to have to move to get guys open. And so I think he has every capability to do so. And it's definitely going to be a good game. Seattle's defense is going to get pushed to their limit. I think that obviously the championship game, they played exceptionally well. They played against a tough offense, a 4-quarter offense. And so they're going to have to play a 4-quarter, New England is going to have to play a 4-quarter offense as well in order to be able to win this game.
So the spread on the passing yards is Sam Darnold minus 6.5. Do you have Darnold minus 6.5 passing yards or Drake Maye plus 6.5 passing yards?
I'm going to say Drake Maye plus 6.5. I think what's going to end up happening is Seattle will get up, and you're going to see the Patriots throwing a lot more. I see that they're going to use Henderson in the game, try to get them settled in, try to use whatever they can to kind of keep the defense guessing. Some play action, some design QB runs. They're going to use all 11 men on the field. We're not expecting Drake Maye to just sit back in the pocket. He's going to be moving around as much as possible to keep that Seattle defense from getting to him. But the sacks are there. The sacks will be there. We're going to see, I say there's probably going to be at least 4 sacks in this game from that Seattle defense. I think that they're going to get to the point where they're going to be pinned back. They're going to be ready to go. So he's just going to have to take off. I see Drake Maye with 50 yards rushing at least, but I also see him with 4 sacks.
Yeah, and I can see Hunter Henry having a big catch game, not necessarily yardage. But if Drake Maye can't get to the edge with his feet, Hunter Henry's probably wide open because the guy came off somebody. I think for me, it really comes down to, can the Seahawks score in their first possession and put that pressure on? Because if you could take the Patriots out of their normal game flow, I think what the Seahawks are able to do on the ground is superior to what the Patriots are able to do on the ground. So I think the Seahawks with the lead is more valuable than New England with a lead. But I think it actually plays to New England's strength to be behind, because it lets Drake Maye be a little more creative. So hopefully it's entertaining, because we've had a couple Super Bowls over the last 5 years or so that were duds, for lack of a better term. So I'm really hoping that this one is a rock fight the whole way.
We've had some pretty decent ones too. We've had some.
We have too. And, but they should all be good. I want them all to be good. This is the spectacle. This is supposed to be the best game of any sport ever in the world, right? Every year.
Which is why it gets its own halftime show and millions and billions of dollars of advertisements in the middle of it.
2 halftime shows. We should do a 602 halftime show.
Hey, who's gonna be singing on it?
There's people just signing up for shit now, man. So
why? You know what the dumbest thing is, bro? It's 15 minutes. Like, if they said, you know what, we're gonna do an entire concert during the Super Bowl, which is stupid anyway. But then we're gonna do a very specific during the halftime. I'm like, all right, I guess it'd be worth it if I don't really care too much about the Super Bowl to at least go to this concert. But it's 15 minutes, bro. And it's being streamed on like the randomest places. Like, I'm not turning off my TV to go look at Rumble to go find a secondary halftime show.
I go in the other room because I got Puppy Bowl queued up and ready to go. Puppy Bowl is the only way to do a halftime, man.
Puppy Bowl is the only. Well, I say give me the split screen. Give me the split screen.
Yo, you can bet on Puppy Bowl offshore?
Of course you can. You can bet on everything. The fact that I'm watching streamers now, they're just like, oh yeah, Kalshi's got this. Oh yeah, freaking DraftKings has got this. Oh yeah, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, if you really got the itch, which by the way is ridiculous. Our whole culture is just based on gambling now. Like, you want to make some money? Get a job.
I got a female dog, female puppy scoring the first touchdown.
Rick, I've watched you bet on AI generated video games at 4 o'clock in the morning on a.
If y'all don't know Salty Bet, hit me up. I got a referral link for you.
AI generated video game fights at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, in at the beach in Mexico. So you'll take. I know you'll take.
I mean, I don't. Nothing sounds deviant at all about what you're saying. It sounds like
Not
a
at all.
really well-adjusted human being.
I just know you got the itch there. I know you got the itch. I don't mind. You do bet on what you want to bet on, but you're not going to take my money. I'm not betting on no puppy bowl.
All right. If there is an octopus in this game, meaning the same player scores a touchdown and the 2-point conversion that follows, what player do you think slots into that?
Oh, I'd say probably May. I think May is the most likely guy to do that. I could see him doing a cube. I can see him scrambling to score a touchdown, and then I can see a run on the 2-point conversion where they just push it, and they do a boot. They do a boot out, and he gets out there. Cup's a good pick too. No,
I was going to say Walker.
Cup's a good one. Oh, Walker, Kenneth Walker.
I was going to say Walker. Dude, if you could find odds on Drake Maye specifically for an octopus, that would pay the dumbest kind of money.
But I'm just thinking about desperation here, right? We're looking at
it makes perfect sense. I'm just like, if you could find it, so I've never seen like player to have octopus.
Oh, yeah.
But like, if you could find Drake Maye specific, it's like octopus is paying 15-1. So like specific player octopus would be stupid odds.
That's got to be 1,000-1 odds. Easy.
So one of the best parts of a Super Bowl party is squares. We got the squares all done, but the other one I like is props. Just crazy prop sheet with some bullshit on it. Is there like one prop that you like always look for, like it sticks in your brain, you always remember that it exists, and you're like looking for it?
Honestly, I don't really pay too much attention to half of them. I've been looking at mostly just our overall outcomes and like trying to give like an honest review of the game. I really don't spend too much time on the props. Again, not a big gambling guy. But what about yourself? What's one that really sticks out to you?
I'm a sucker for Gatorade color. The color of the Gatorade on the winning coach. But I found myself recently, I really like the ex-player's girlfriend shown on broadcast over under number of times.
Oh, God. I mean, I guess if I have to pick one, it's probably the one that sticks out mostly is the national anthem line.
Oh, over under on the nanny? Yeah.
Over under on the national anthem. Usually like over under on how long they're going to hold the trophy in the air afterwards. Like just a couple of those random ones that stick. But yeah, no, I definitely say the national anthem is the one that gets me the most. They've obviously, after the whole Taylor Swift thing, they freaking now everything is about what the girl is. They're going to show, such and such 3, 4, 5 times. Like, who cares?
I'm looking for Drake Maye's mom over 2.5 times.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I need. That's what I need. Like coin toss is always fun.
Mm-hmm. The coin toss is one, yeah.
Because it's so meaningless in today's NFL.
The opening song for the halftime show too. It's like, what's going to be the opening song?
I saw Bad Bunny's hair color is one that's going around.
Oh, he just came from the Grammys too, so I don't know. His fit might be killer. It's gonna be at least. I think it's gonna be at least at least one outfit change somewhere in there. Obviously, the Rihanna one had no changes because she was pregnant and on a platform.
She barely swayed, man.
Hey, I was cool with it though. She was chilling. Respect.
One that I'm looking at that I need to do a little bit of research on, but it's fluky bullshit. It's a quarterback to have a reception. That's 9-1 money.
Well, after Philly special, obviously now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon.
Right, yeah. But like Drake Maye, I could see something. I gotta go look at stats. I haven't pulled stats. I doubt Darnold has a catch all year. Drake Maye might have one.
Cup actually is lined up at. Cup's got I believe he has a pass to his name, so I could totally see Darnold maybe randomly out there on one. Yeah.
Would you call that the Wild Cup?
The Wild Cup. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, actually,
talk-
Cubs got
Let's
an
talk
attempt
wide
to win games.
receivers.
Wow.
Let's
Oh,
talk wide receivers.
let's do it.
Remove JSN from the conversation.
Okay.
Who has the most yards receiving in this game? In a Patriots win and in a Seahawks win. Take JSN out. We're not talking JSN.
No JSN. Well, I'm gonna assume that it's probably gonna be Diggs. If we're just talking about wide receivers or receivers in general, because if we're talking about
receiving, let's say if you got a tight end or a running
receiving
back
yards,
you want to
period.
include in there. Yeah.
I could say so. So as far as it depends on what type of game it is. If we're seeing Seattle's defense perform exceptionally well, Hunter Henry, I could see him being the top receiver, or Travion Henderson, just because I could see Drake Maye trying to get the ball out quicker, and I can see a lot more dump offs, a lot more slants, a lot more bubble screens, things like that. If we're talking about if the game is more evenly matched, if both offenses are moving the ball down the field, I probably would say I probably would give it to Diggs. I think that if they can get if the field is open enough and wide enough on defense, that they're going to have a couple of plays to him, and they're going to look to get to him to get down the field on some balls. He is a 1,000-yard receiver for a reason. But I think that's probably the safest bet I would go for. And you never really know what they're going to do with Ramondre Stevenson. He just kind of pops out of nowhere and is just like a random utility guy. So,
and that was one of the things I looked at when I was doing research on this. Is like Stevenson actually has like double that per game receiving yards as Henderson, which I wouldn't have guessed. Rushing yards, sure, just because of the way they use them. I wouldn't have guessed he had more receiving yards, and he does pretty handily.
He's been there receiving. He's the one thing about Stevenson is that he's been a receiving back his entire career. Realistically,
I feel like it's all underneath, right? But that wasn't the case. His depth of target was like 5.5 yards. Like he's running routes. So
it's a lot of slant.
I didn't have that perspective.
It's a lot of things out of the. It's everything out of the backfield. He's not lining up in the slot and taking it, but he's lining up in the backfield. He's chipping, some screens, and he's been like that for the entirety of his career. He's definitely been a receiving back. That's part of the reason why I would look for him. If I needed an RB3 in fantasy or a flex guy, I might try to pick him up because I know they like to throw. They like to throw it to him. So yeah, I definitely could see that. But Henderson is who they wanted to be a traditional running back. Like they finally found a guy that they felt very comfortable as more of a
Corey Dillon. Corey Dillon is what he looks like running, man.
Good pull. Yeah, like just a downhill guy. Can make a guy can break a tackle, can make guys miss. But just like someone who really moves the chains, and they've been looking for that guy. And Stevenson was never really that guy. He was definitely more of a shifty or outside kind of guy, and I always saw him as that. So I definitely think that they're significantly happier with that. But in this playoffs right now, Henderson's not doing shit. Right now, Stevenson's the guy. So if you're gonna, you are leaning on that potential. You're leaning on that potential experience. He's got experience under his belt. Henderson's a young guy, and you start to see some of that happen in certain situations. You start to see the quarterback narrow down who they're getting the ball to, narrow down their play calls, and just kind of hone in on what's really working well. And if you got a guy in Stevenson who's performing right now, you get him the ball, whatever way you can. Same thing goes for Seattle. I mean, we can talk about how they had to split back, offense realistically, but when you get down to it, Kenneth Walker's been the guy the entire playoff, and obviously with the injury to Charbonnet, and he's been very good too. With the injury to Charbonnet, you see the team do a couple of different things. You see Shaheed coming around the outside. You see a couple different looks to try to throw off teams, and so I might expect like a run. I see a potential end around for Cup randomly, or Shaheed, like one of those two guys getting some type of end around play this game, and depends on how the Patriots defense spots that as to whether or not it'll be a successful play. I can see that happen today.
9 years ago, the Atlanta Falcons had a Super Bowl in hand. And sweet feet James White from the University of Wisconsin goes 6 carries for 29 yards, 14 catches for 110, and 3 touchdowns. The Patriots win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady illegitimately receives Super Bowl MVP. Give me a similar stat line for Stevenson. Me 130 total yards, 2 touchdowns. 3 is crazy.
3 is crazy, but it depends on how they want to use them. I mean, I could see it, and I could see it happening. I just don't see it happening. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that. I think when it comes down to it, you're going to do whatever your team can do to win. If you see a guy who's, you see their defense pin back, you see some of those open spots, you got to get the ball down the field. You got to get out of your hands. Those dump offs become a lot more appealing. You'll see some screen. I see you're gonna see some running wide receivers, some wide receiver screens, but you'll see some running back screens, some bubble screens. You'll see that offensive line get out there and try to get some blocking going. I think that they feel like their receivers can block as well, to be able to get some blockers, some lead blockers up front. So I can see the Patriots totally doing some of those and getting Stevenson the ball. I can also see Drake Maye being chased down and just kind of dropping one off to Stevenson right around the line of scrimmage and him breaking off for, a 15, 20-yarder just because everybody's out in coverage. And so those little things like that, they absolutely going to contribute to how his use in this game and how much that they're going to be able to get away with against the Seattle defense, which we expect to perform very well.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Booty or Shaheed number 2 in receiving yards. They're both capable of going, 65 yards after a kickoff and just one catch, 65 yards in the stat line kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know how much further down the list you can reasonably go. Mac Hollins is obviously a burner. If he got open, sure, maybe, but like a wet paper bag can cover Mac Hollins. So I don't know if there's anything there.
Do you think JSN could put up Jerry Rice Super Bowl numbers and get that MVP?
I think it would take 150 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in a tight win.
Okay.
Because if you let Darnold put up much more than that, like if Darnold has 350 and 3 touchdowns, he's the MVP. It's done.
Oh yeah.
If
Darnold goes for over 300 yards, quarterback goes for over 300 yards,
250 and 2, and JSN is 150 and 2 of that.
JSN probably gets it, especially for what it depends on also what those plays are, right? If we're talking about deep throws that Darnold puts out there that JSN gets to, that's one thing. If we're talking about JSN on a fucking screen, he takes it for 60 yards.
Bunch of yak.
Yeah. It depends. It just depends on. I think that makes sense.
But I think it takes that. His receiving line is 105. It's right about his average per game, 105 yards. Likely to score. He's like plus 210 to score a touchdown, which is essentially even money for those bullshit props. It's possible. I mean, he's the only player in the game capable, right? I mean, he's the only wide receiver in the game that could be MVP.
I don't agree with that.
If Diggs has the same stat line, if Diggs is 202, Drake Maye is the MVP.
What about Kupp? I think he could do it.
If Kupp puts up those numbers, I think he's
already been a Super Bowl champion. This is not his first rodeo. Think about it, right? Think about it, but be honest. Like, this is not his first rodeo. We're not looking at a guy. We're not looking at a second a wide receiver 2 who hasn't been to this stage before, who doesn't understand how to get into space if he needs to. And we're looking at a primarily man defense. So there's going to be opportunities as long as Darnold can get them the ball. There's opportunities here. I could totally see, and Al's been on it. He's been an avid Kupp guy. He's talked about how he could get 2 touchdowns in a game like this. If you're talking about, I mean, what happens if it's 2 touchdowns, but they're goal line touchdowns and they both go to Kupp, or you get Kupp with a 15-yarder and then another touchdown somewhere around there. Like, does it? How does
Cup
it
for
look
2
there?
touchdowns is 22-1. 22-1 for 2 touchdowns.
It's not too bad.
The yardage, man. I think
yardage is
that's
where
the
you're
thing
looking
for
at?
me. Like,
Mhm.
because like, give him 2 touchdowns, right? Give Cup 2 touchdowns. Game flow. What does he have? 55 yards.
55 yards, yeah. But now tell me about the run game though. If the game control, if we got Kenneth Walker with 105 yards rushing, we got Kenneth Walker with
That's a team win, and Darnold gets the MVP.
Fair enough.
Right? Like NFL's stupid, right? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I necessarily disagree. I'm telling you, if that happens that way you just laid out, Darnold's the MVP. That's a team win.
Fair enough. I guess
that's how the NFL works.
He did throw the 2 touchdown passes, probably.
Yeah, right. And he has another 125 yards on top of it, and like Bobo's got a touchdown. Like it's Darnold, like.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I can see that being the case. I just think,
and I don't think for the same reason, I don't think there's a Patriots wide receiver that could be the MVP of this game. Like barring something crazy, right? If Diggs has 400 receiving yards, sure.
That's fair. Is there a chance for a defensive or like a kicker to win MVP?
Oh my God, dude. We would do a show next week. We'd do a show next week all about kickers. A fucking kicker wins the MVP of the Super Bowl.
If he kicked 5 field goals, yeah. You can win the MVP.
I would be beside. I would watch so much UFL.
Look, I'm just trying to think about if these two teams' defenses played each other the way that they've been able to play all season. Because both of them are we got 18.8 and 17.8, I believe, were their respective defensive points allowed. Both of them also about 28 points average scored for the season. If we look at how much they scored in the actual playoffs, it's not even close. But if you just go by a regular season, I'm trying to keep them as even as possible. If their defense has performed as well as they played all season, and it came down to a game of field goals, and it came down to field position, it came down to those guys really not hitting the end zone, but getting to the 30 and getting to the 25, barely touching the red zone. Darnold throws for 200 yards. Drake Maye throws for 225, but it ends up being a game where field goals become what you need. There's always a possibility.
All right. Well, let's. Okay. So, yes, Jason Myers is plus 10,000.
Perfect. I'll take
Borregales is double that.
Perfect. I'll put down $5 on each one of them. Put $5 on each one of them. If I want to waste my money, I'll take it.
Now, the other side is interesting, though, right? So Marcus Jones, all he has to do is return a kick for a touchdown. If he has a punt return for a touchdown and an interception, he's a mortal lock for MVP if the Patriots win that game. And on the other side, like Ernest Jones, if Ernest Jones has a pick, a sack, and 8 tackles, does that get it done? Maybe.
I mean, it's tough.
No, low-scoring game. Call it 10-7, 13-10, something like that.
I mean, yeah, we did talk a lot about how these offenses are, but we really haven't given any nod to the defenses and how good they've been realistically.
Phenomenal defenses.
Yeah, phenomenal defenses all around. And I mean, you look, and the turnovers definitely say Christian Gonzalez, if he gets 2 picks, like what about someone getting 2 picks? I mean, it's not as realistic, obviously, but it's a possibility in a game where you're going to be down and you got no other options. You're just throwing them up. It's a possibility
there. Okay, all right. So just for reference, the kickers have longer odds for Super Bowl MVP than Drew Lock.
the backup.
Yeah. I mean... It is just the math from the sports book. It is more likely that Drew Lock comes in, wins the game, and wins MVP than a kicker is the MVP.
Fair enough. That's why I don't gamble, guys. That's why I don't gamble. Because I come up
like Hunter Henry has like the same odds as Jason Myers.
Oh God. It should be a good game.
All right.
I'm excited.
Yeah. What else you got here? Anything else you want to touch on with Patriots Seahawks? Super Bowl 60.
Nah, I really don't. I just think it's gonna be a fun game. I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope everybody enjoys themselves. Have a safe, have a safe day. Spend time with friends, spend time with family, or spend time with whoever you want to. But just enjoy it. The football season is over for us, at least in this sense. And it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed another season of keep yelling and screaming. I finally bought a microphone, guys, so you can hear me. So I'm just
sounds
chipping
velvety.
away. I'm just chipping away. Eventually, I'll get a better setup, and we'll look a little more professional next year.
Hit that QR code on your screen. Buy a T-shirt. It goes directly to Sean's camera fund.
I've been bouncing around a little bit, so I'm actually working from the laptop right now. But I want to make sure I got here and got on and made sure that we had another beautiful show. Rick, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoy it. Thanks for having me. And
Oh yeah.
go Black History Month.
Oh, there you go. We'll get back to you guys about off season. We did one off season show last year. Cadence will probably be about the same, right around draft time. So be on the lookout for that on the channel here, on the socials. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. You'll see the video when it gets scheduled. Follow 602 on Facebook. Follow 602 on Instagram. If you're in the Phoenix Valley area, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Club602.com. This has been Yelling and Screaming. We will see you guys next season. Have a good one.